There it is. Welcome in, everybody. I believe I am live. Can someone comment down below? Let me know. We have quite the show today if we ever get it set up. Let's see, go here. Sorry, bear with me just a few seconds. Okay, we are live. I just got the okay. So, on today's show, we have a full league breakdown for our very own League of Tomorrow league. And it is a Start 10 PPR tight end premium. Of course, in every league, trades, values, they differ. So you got to give the league basics before anything. So don't forget, if you want a full league breakdown below, go ahead and have your league comment, all your league mates comment down below. And whoever has the most comments for that league name, we will do a video for. So, I can't pull up the warp graph, which is what I wanted. And for anyone who doesn't know warp, it's pretty much players over expected. So pretty much it's your replacement player on waivers, players that are replaceable. For a better warp video breakdown, this isn't going to be one of those, but that's just how I came to these rankings. So on the league breakdown, we'll be using those as the kind of go ahead on these rankings. So let's just get right into number one. Sorry for the rough start. So I think the guy knows. Believe he's in the chat. Do you want to say you're number one right now, or do you want me to? Because it is Romaldo. He went full on. Let's go to his team really quick on a rebuild. So this is an auction draft, right? Where you can't just trade away, your first round pick and slowly leverage down on positions. In order to get a first, you're going to have to give up actual auction dollars for, which he was willing to do over 3 times, which is quite ballsy. So let's go to his team. There he is. He's playing me week 1. All right, so as you can see here, he's got Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa at QB. But you have to think, as well as this, on top of having those two guys at QB, he also has Caleb Williams, because we know his team's going to suck. His whole thing was rebuilding. He zigged when everyone else zagged. He has no running backs, which is any rebuilding team should be doing. And then at his wide receivers, he has Quentin Johnson, Michael Gallup, Donovan Peoples-Jones. So pretty iffy wide receiver core too. I would like to say, even though I respect someone rebuilding or trying that right off the bat, that this team is far too... You've sold too many assets, right? You want to try to rebuild, but now you're stuck with almost Tua, Hurts, and Caleb Williams. You don't have a lot to go off of. You have Dallas Goedert, and I understand you did that for this stack. But one thing you need to understand about that is, as far as warp value, I wish I could bring up the chart, but I know him himself on this league has it. Tight ends almost mean nothing. Almost mean nothing. Now, Dallas Goedert could have a breakout season where the top 3 tight ends do matter, but that's, very unlikely. Not a lot of tight ends do that. And, I mean, when you're talking tight ends matter in this league, I really only care about guys like Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce and possibly a George Kittle if he has a season like he had a few years back when healthy. But I don't think Goddard with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith can be that tight end. So one thing I would be looking forward to do in this exact team is, can I get a first for Dallas Goedert? Can I get actually something that matters off of Dallas Goedert? I just think this team stretched itself a bit too thin in order to be, a good rebuilding. As you see, there's not much on the bench either. There's things you can do during the season where if a running back goes down and you happen to have one of those handcuffs, try to get a third, second, but it is very, very hard to do when you are this low in the rankings. Now, let's go to number 11. And sorry, guys, I was supposed to write these down on the computer. It's been a rough night. So at number 11, we will have Ace7377. Ace, so what you did with your... This is gross, man. Don't drink and draft. You know, drinking's fun every now and then, but while you're drafting, you should probably stay away from that many boosts. Now, you do have Mark Andrews, George Kittle. That's cool. That's, you know, cute if they actually hit the ceilings they have, but they're soon to be gone in a few years. They aren't going to be as elite as they won. You're pretty much destined for failure, except the fact that you did the smart thing and you also traded for first. You have 3 first-round picks, but you have, like, if you're going to go for that rebuild, it's like you didn't know if you're going to rebuild or not, right? You went with Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson. They're not going to necessarily accrue value. Russell Wilson has a very small chance of that. Then you got Derrick Henry, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins. What the fudge were you? I can't say any cuss words yet. It's not 3 minutes into the live stream. But what the heck were you thinking by getting the 3 first to rebuild and then getting a team of old assets? The only thing I could possibly imagine you were thinking of doing is, hey, possibly halfway through the season, I can't compete and use those first round picks to go forward with my team and actually make a run if it happens. But the thing is, if that run doesn't happen, you just bought a bunch of old players while selling your auction for first, and you essentially have to rebuild worse than anyone out there. There's no chance. There's a chance that Russell Wilson, Derrick Henry, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Kittle, they all take a giant step back. David Montgomery, he will obviously take a step back once Gibbs gets more inclined with the offense. I just don't see the reasoning behind drafting all these players. So let's go through a couple of moves you could make. You could obviously be trying to trade Kirk Cousins, Derrick Henry, or Russell Wilson and Derrick Henry to move up at QB. That's maybe, you know, you're not going to get with Kirk Cousins, Derrick Henry, an elite QB. Could you get a Kyler Murray? Right after that top 8, you have Kyler Murray, who's been nothing but a QB1, early QB1, maybe top 8 at his worst per game. That would be one move I'm totally willing to make with this. With as well as other things going, you have on your bench Ryan Tannehill, another aging asset, Baker Mayfield, Trey Lance, and Kamara. You went with just a bunch of duds. You went a bunch of hopeful things and hoping you get them on the cheap while getting 3 first-round picks. Could that work? Sure, but is that an ideal roster construction? Not at all. I understand it's much different when you're doing an auction draft compared to a regular redraft standard snake. But the way you set this up for your team is destined to fail. Luckily, you have the 3 first. If you didn't have that, you'd literally just be an orphan by next year. Hopkins, you got to see what you can get for Hopkins. And if you can't get Kyler Murray or a QB in that tier by trading away a Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson's plus a Henry, then other moves I'd be trying to make is maybe a Hopkins plus a Kittle to upgrade to get an elite wide receiver that can help you for a few seasons, just to get you out of this hole so you're not going to have to just rely on the 3 first if your team can't work out. You have enough depth too to use those instead of just relying on a Henry and just hoping that goes forward. So let's go. That was number 11. Oh, number 10 and number 9 are probably my favorite teams to shit on. I apologize for this long wait. All right, number 10 is Tony Martu. Another instance of probably too drunk while drafting. Your QBs are Daniel Jones and Goff. They're both assets that might not even be on a roster by next year. They might just be backups. So let's go to his team before I talk too much about it beforehand. So yeah, he's got Jared Goff and Daniel Jones at QB. Very risky assets. You have Rachaad White, Dameon Pierce, CeeDee Lamb, and a hurt Jerry Jeudy at wide receiver with Jordan Addison. Javonte Williams also and Kyle. You just took. This isn't even a don't drink and draft. This is a clear players over analysis. Players over what actually matters. The only thing I can think of he did is he said, I like these guys. I'll pay what I need to get. Because you have no studs besides CeeDee Lamb. Every single one of these freaking players could actually just fail by this time next year. They're all on a short leash. You didn't draft any, besides CeeDee Lamb, like I said, you did not draft any players that have sustained value over a year. Now, of course, in running back position, almost no one besides like a Gibbs and Breece Hall has that, 2-year value where you can say, hey, next year it's only getting better for him. But the fact that you tried this on an entire team with only drafting Daniel Jones and Jared Goff, you need some work to make, and sir, you had a freaking terrible draft. Which is weird, because usually you do pretty good. I'm in a couple leagues with you. So let's go on to moves I'd make. CeeDee Lamb, can I tear down from him? Can I get a Brandon Ayuk and a mid-first for 24? Yeah, that'll help me fill it out, and then I can reassure myself. Now, he does have his own first still, so he didn't F up that bad. Can I get a 24 first for Jerry Jeudy? Probably not with the injury right now. I would definitely be looking to just tear these walls down and understand I sucked at the draft. I need one of those elite rookie QBs last year, or else I won't be able to afford it. So you have guys like Rachaad White, Dameon Pierce. During the season, these are guys you might want to hold on to, and during the season, leverage them when someone's player goes down, right? You have, someone with their RB1 going down, and you can leverage that fact and possibly throw in a second to make one of these guys a very first-round pick. Jordan Addison, that's good for your team. You can keep it. CeeDee Lamb, like I said, I'm totally willing to tear down from him with a Brandon Ayuk, Devontae Smith level guy and get a first-round pick on top of it. You'll see me say those kind of things probably a couple times with a couple different players, depending on the team throughout the video, because that's just how I play. I like my studs, but as well as that, when you're in a startup, you don't have all the luxury of doing it, and it's just dependent on teams. Javonte Williams, I would love to trade him for a first. Like I said, this is a full rebuild team. This is how I think of them. So Dalton Kincaid, you probably can't get a first-round pick for him. Maybe if you swing back a second. Kyle Pitts, I just keep him on the roster for now and hope he breaks off a few games. Even though I don't expect him to, he might be one of those tight ends that actually have elite value. Because if you look at the WART data for this league, you're talking Travis Kelce's up there with probably the number one player out there. Mark Andrews, close to that range. But then you get to these these tight end 3 to 6, and they make not a damn difference between tight ends 3 to tight end 15. So it's easy to replace, and they're usually overvalued in the league just because of a name value. On your bench, Zach Charbonnet is nice to have. If I can trade George Pickens for anything, I'll probably say this on any team I see, George Pickens. He's not elite. He showed nothing last year besides one or two amazing catches. His profile was never elite. So this is where I usually say I don't think about players in specific, but George Pickens rubs me the wrong way. And then, you got Sam. So you have backup tight ends, too. There's no reason I actually should be rostering Kyle Pitts. There is a world where you could go out and try to get an Olave with him. Or, that wide receiver 5 to 10 range, because they will do a lot better for your team in the long run than a tight end. That's all I got to say for these first couple teams. Now, I cannot wait to diss on you, because I usually give you major props. Mr. Pat, I can say it now, what the fuck were you thinking with your draft? The last auction we were in, Frankie D right here, nailed it. Almost a perfect auction draft. I was very impressed. And now we are in this. Please comment. Let me know what the hell you were thinking. Hey, Romaldo, you said you can't see my screen? Am I black? Hold on. It should be showing window capture. I don't know, Romaldo. I haven't heard from what you're saying after that, but it says it's showing my screen. But yeah, let's just go right to Frankie. This is Pat. So, with this team, hold on. Hey, Kayla, can you see the screen? It's cut? What does it's cut mean? Only see half. What half are you seeing? Seams. Oh, you're right. Seam 2. Why am I able to see it then? Alright, well, if we can't see my face, I don't give a damn then. As long as we can see the actual sleeper. Alright, so yeah, let's get back to... How the hell is it still showing my background? Oh, well, you can see this is what matters, so. As long as you can see the teams on it. My bad, guys. Alright. Screw my face. Alright, so at number 9, like I was saying, this is Frankie Pat's team. He has no first round pick, and besides Watson, he failed to really get any studs on his team. Now, running backs in this format, believe it or not, if you look at WARP, they matter more than you think. Yes, RB6 to 30 are about a 0.8 wins difference per season, but that's still a lot for one running back. And you have to have one in the top 30. It's not like you can go with Samaje Perine. And if you go to his wide receivers, right, you have Mike Evans, Jahan Dotson, Drake London. Drake London is a nice asset to have on this team. Darren Waller means nothing in this format, not with Daniel Jones. And then you're actually even flexing out another tight end with David Njoku. Like I said, Pat, you are in the league chat. If you look at that WARP data, you don't want to have to start 2 tight ends. Unless you're starting Andrews and Kelsey. Not happening. Marquise Brown, so he has a ton of depth, too, if we go down here. He has guys like A.J. Dillon, Isaiah Pacheco, Devin Achane, Kendre Miller, Christian Kirk. Very nice depth, which doesn't matter if you don't have a stud to actually win it and you traded your own first, so you cannot rebuild. Please comment down below what the hell you were thinking, because I have no idea what you were thinking drafting a team like this. So here are some moves I'd be willing to make. I'd be willing to try to send Evans, Akers, Kirk, Mac Jones to buy at least one stud. I don't care if you combined all that with Hollywood. So you can combine, let's say, Waller, because to people's value, he still has name value. You already have Njoku to replace him. Like I said, you don't want to start 2 tight ends in this format. Marquise Brown. So let's say you go out and offer Mike Evans, who's a aging asset, Marquise Brown, and try to tier up at wide receiver. Devontae Smith even. I'm fine with it. Just that you have to get some studs on your team. I don't know what you were thinking still.